So in theory, we're live.
Hey guys, welcome to Nerdy for Nerds by Nerds. Maybe you're seeing this, maybe you're not. We're trying to do this again with Take Two. I'm Nericus Ryan, and I'm joined by
Ted,
Nathan Odark,
and Dave's off to the side trying to see if we're actually doing this or not.
Let's see, is it go? Did it go or not?
We got a swirly.
Maybe something's happened. Dave and also our super elite Squire and intern Kyle is off to the side as well, waiting in the wings.
show me an ad, so I think we're good to go.
Oh yeah. If we're getting an ad, if YouTube is making money off of this, then sure as the sun will shine and come up. This is probably going off without a hitch.
So I imagine Dave will be joining us shortly, and Kyle will pop on and wave a quick hi.
All right, there we go. There's a Dave magnificently swooping across your screen.
Yeah,
there we go, like a slightly obese ghost.
Don't make me kill you.
I will touch you.
Force damage.
3 days later.
Force damage. So we said all kinds of cool stuff on our previous one, and now I don't know where to go.
Stuff.
Yeah.
So as always, the links for everything is down below, including both parts of the game that Dave ran on Wednesday due to yet another YouTube mishap.
Yeah.
Yeah, this recently YouTube's really been bending us over.
Yeah.
Bastards.
Yeah, so
Free
recently
service.
Dave ran a game for the Scarlet Sisterhood, which
Yes.
is every Wednesdays.
7 p.m. Eastern time.
Eastern Standard Time.
And YouTube we had a problem and it just cut out. It kicked you off the live.
Yeah, it kicked us out of being live. They're
Yeah.
like, enough, no more, go home.
So
You
they-
live stream enough.
They played through an encounter, and then they were like, all right, once more from the top. And then you just restarted the encounter. Not really.
No, we just picked up where we left off. We caught it really early. Thankfully, Sam's husband Shane was watching, and I think yelled from the other room, "You're not broadcasting anymore!" So, cut. So we had to do it in 2 parts, but we figured it out. Just like the technical difficulties we experienced today. Before we do the sound off where everybody's from, we'd like to introduce Kyle S., who is now our new Squire and intern or apprentice, depending.
An apprentice lion.
Depending on if his vocation is more martial or spellcaster in nature.
Right.
Complete with Dungeons and Dragons bow tie.
Yes.
There you go. Came prepared. You came to the job prepared.
Yeah. So you guys can start sounding off. Also, unfortunately, we're going to do the redrawing of the Bag of Nord.
The 30K giveaway. We picked the name. We reached out.
They did not reach back.
They did not reach back, and therefore, we
Yes.
feel that we have to give it away to somebody.
We're honor bound.
Yeah, I did tell Christopher that if he sent us this stuff, we'd give it to people. So it seems fair that we do such. So we have 5 decks here. 1 NPC deck, and then the other ones are 3 critical decks and a luck deck.
Yes, critical hit deck for players, critical hit deck for GMs, crit fail deck for everybody, and then the luck deck, which is pretty cool.
Now, I say this every time, but I think it's freaking amazing and kind of funny that over on the Nord game site you can actually buy the Crown Royal bag with your dice.
So the question is, are they buying the bags from Crown Royal, or are they just been drinking a bunch of
Somebody
whiskey?
at Nord Games is a raging alcoholic. And they might need to get into a 12-step program.
They have a contingency of dwarves working there.
Yeah. That's like
They just burned through it real quick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are
Or
fueled by.
maybe you're allowed to drink
liquor.
whiskey on the clock.
Yeah.
So intern Kyle, is our chat filling back up, or are we talking to ourselves?
Yep, no, we got everybody signing off. So far I have Cleveland, Georgia, Oregon, ABQ, another Oregon.
Did we get our guy who was 3 a.m. over in Australia? Did he rejoin us?
He hasn't sounded back off.
He went back
DC?
to bed.
All right.
So give us a shout if there's anybody asking questions out there. I will throw this out there to everyone in viewer land. This you guys for your GM 911 suggestions. This past week we got a ton, so we'll be diving into doing some vids on them later this afternoon.
But it's been a bit of a dry spell actually.
for a while, yeah. But if you do have any viewer suggestion or GM 911 that you'd like us to help you out with, nerdarchy@gmail.com is the best way to get in contact us. in contact with us about that.
Yeah, we used to take it from all over, but then it just like it was hard to like funnel it all into one place. So like having it just come through our email makes it a lot simpler.
Indeed.
Curtis wants to know, he has a question. Why are you guys so awesome?
Well, Curtis.
We bathed in awesome sauce
Yeah.
and the blood of virgins.
Yeah.
Well, part of it is clearly the beard. You know, that's got to be it.
Yeah. I wonder if that's our friend, probably our friend Curtis.
But we've got a couple of them out there, but
Yeah.
that could be Dr. Kurt.
Yeah, Dr. Curtis.
Is
That's
Dr.
right.
Kurt in the house?
I mean, you guys are all our friends, but like one that we know in flesh and blood and as a person.
Games with us.
So we'll be gaming with tonight.
Yeah, there we go. He will be reprising the role of Lucky Dembona.
Henri.
Yeah, the fans seem to really be enjoying them. There's some people who are like, I wasn't feeling the accent at first, but now I kind of dig on it. It's funny too. Like, there's always those characters like that, like the Gobblers. There's a whole contingency that fucking hated them, and now they watch for them. So,
And then there's some that still hate them. So,
well, speaking of which, the part 1 of that game went up this morning, and you may or may not have noticed there was a little bit of snafu in the first 13 minutes of the game.
what was the snafu?
The resolution was wrong.
Oh no.
Remember we stopped. We had to
Configure, recombobble.
right. So, but after you get through the first like 13 minutes of that 3.5 hour game, you guys will be good.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, we probably recorded that almost a month ago, 2-3 weeks ago at least.
Yeah,
So it fades.
It all takes time.
And the audio's all there and good. And to me, that's like the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So somebody wants to know, Timu wants to know, how you guys feel about racial ability score bonuses. Do you think races could be interesting without them, with more or different race and class combinations?
I like them. I think it differentiates them, and obviously some people are just better. Some people are just going to be better at doing some things than others. A big burly orc is probably going to be stronger, and as a race, they tend to be bigger and burlier than other races. Like the scrawny ones are still bigger,
Yeah.
And a halfling, they're all small. Same thing with gnomes, so they're not going to be as strong.
I think using the standard stat array gives you the average spectrum. Using, let's say, half orc who gets a +2 to strength, you aren't going to see an orc or a half orc, in my opinion, that has a negative strength modifier. They're used to being burly, so that differentiates them from, let's say, an elf who doesn't. So the weakest will actually have that 8.
Yeah. Well, and that being said too, like with being able to place your stats, like the ability score bonuses, like though your high end is capped and your low end could be too, like really it doesn't matter because you're going to get to place your stats where you want. So like racially you might not be able to start with a thing that has a +3 modifier, but if you're making a thing spec for a certain class, you're going to at least have a +2. And the difference of 1 and 2, like, though significant, isn't insurmountable. So, like, it matters and then it doesn't, really.
And also, too, we're like races that are more physical, it makes sense that they're not going to excel as much as a more cerebral race when it comes to things like, arcane knowledge and spell casting.
Yeah, so there you go. We generally like it. It's cool. Solid.
Gregory Florioli wants to open a whole can of worms, and he asks, what does Ryan think about the Sorcerer now that his character is higher level?
Oh yeah, no. Like basically the Sorcerer is a rough go of it until you are a high level caster, because now there's just about no reason other than dropping the occasional shield spell. There's pretty much no reason to cast a spell that isn't a 5th level spell, because you start sapping out your low level spell slots and get 5th level spell slots through your sorcery points. So it's like the economy of actions. You have to always be aware of using your bonus action to do that if you haven't used it for something else. So it does always give you something to expend the bonus action for during combat, things like that. I was actually thinking, and we've had this discussion before, so I'm not 14th level yet, but eventually will, and you get some control over the wild magic surges where you can roll twice and choose which result you want. I kind of think that should be more broadly applied to anything that has a random generated effect that you roll twice and get to choose. I think that would be pretty cool. I was also thinking, wouldn't it be interesting, even if you went with not our household version, but the Ben Luck ability, So with rolling a d4 instead of like the regular swings. But like, what if you could use that d4 and like delay the effects of a wild magic by d4 rounds? Like, so you expend it like, all right, I'm just gonna call a halt because like I know a fireball is going to be dropped in what? So 4 times 6, it's in 24 seconds. I know a fireball is going to happen here. So I'm like, I do some stuff and I'm like, guys, fire in a hole in 24, and start backing up. Like I don't know. Like I think that would be kind of cool to have like that little like almost like a slight temporal distortion that you can do with like wild magic surges.
That's interesting.
Yeah, like so. I mean, I wouldn't well, or even doing the thing that we modeled after Bardic Inspiration. Like, oh, if you roll high, like after you roll 8 rounds, like wow, nobody's even going to be fighting.
The fight's going to be over.
Right, so it would be like. So in 8 rounds, I'm going to be a house plant or a sheep. I know this at least.
Could you put me someplace sunny?
Yeah, exactly.
I would see that more as a higher level ability.
Yeah,
Because I think that you should still be able to kill the party with a fireball.
Well, once you're 14th level.
He's saying at 14th level,
Yeah.
all of that would incorporate.
Well,
so.
or I don't know, maybe it'd be another interesting baseline use of the Ben Luck ability that it would make it even more
It virtually
useful.
takes away the negative effects of having Wild Surge, though.
Well, you could roll a 1 and it happens the next round. Like
Yeah, but it's enough time to move out.
Yeah.
So I think it would take away the randomness too much.
Well, why
you
don't you
another
make it like a D4 -1, so it can happen. You could use the ability and it still happen on that round. That could be something.
That'd be interesting. So that's just something we could talk about in the future, perhaps.
Or coin flip, and if you win the coin flip, then it can happen the next round rather than this current round.
Off the food for
Yeah,
thought.
something to think about.
Tax Scarling wants to know, he has a new player coming into his campaign, but the party is currently on an airship. How does he introduce the new player without being too ham-fisted?
Parachute.
Yeah, I
All right,
mean,
so
depends on the character class.
he could already be on the ship, and for some reason, based off of what's going on with the plot,
You know what? I'm just gonna say it right now. You know what? Fuck the story. You know, if you want to play and you want your players to play, then just play. Like, this is not a novel. You know, get them in the game and have fun with it. Don't worry about it. 3 sessions from now, is it gonna matter? Like a year from now, is it gonna matter?
He could be like the dude from the newer Star Wars movie, and like he could be a janitor there on the ship, or he could be a stowaway, or he could be an engineer. Like basically, he could already have a job aboard the ship and
Yes.
be competent.
And you just haven't talked to them yet.
Exactly.
other things, wild magic can happen, and poof, he just teleports onto the ship due to some random thing. Voila, he's there.
There's a ton of ways to do it.
They
and
fight sky pirates, and he's captured on the sky pirate vessel.
I wouldn't agonize over it, and I would try and get them in like the very beginning of the session and not make them wait around. We've done enough of that shit, and I hate it. And it sucks for the player who's coming into the game and go, oh, I sat here for 2 hours, now I played for 30 minutes, and now it's time to go home. That was fun. Why didn't you guys just tell me to come late or something?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so that being said, if you're going to introduce a new player, you kind of end the session before they're going to come in with and this is who you meet, or like you basically set up that they're there at the beginning. It's like the way a TV series might end with like a new character being introduced and end credits.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's fine. That's viable as well.
If you have the time and the setup to make that happen.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So it's planning ahead a little bit.
It seems to be that there is a heated debate going on right now as to encumbrance. Do you guys use it or do you not use it? Because we have people who swear by it and people who think that
I don't like
you
doing
can carry as much as you want.
I don't like doing bookkeeping. I don't, unless it's like, oh well, I want to carry this boat and this cart, and I don't have anything to pull the cart, so I'm just going to hold on to it.
Unless you're keystring a bookcase, yeah.
Yeah, the weird thing about encumbrance is I'm starting in a game on Twitch. TV.
Are you
TV
just
Timmy?
Are you just guesting, or are you going to be actually playing?
I'm guesting for several sessions.
Okay.
TV Timmy on Twitter. I'm not sure what his Twitch channel is. I tried to find it beforehand and I couldn't find it. And if you're in the chat, Timmy, put it in there. But I'm playing a stone origin sorcerer dwarf, right? And we started doing it on Roll20, never used Roll20, and I started putting things on the character sheet, and it was like a weapon, a wand, hardly anything, no armor, a shield, and I throw in like an explorer's pack, and it's like you are encumbered.
Do you have
"What?"
like an 8 strength?
I don't know if I have 8 strength or not. I don't know where I put the low stat. I think I might not even. It might be an average.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not. I have a +1 modifier. So I was like,
That's a bit strange. Explorer pack.
yeah, it was
And
light
a
encumbrance. It
weapon?
wasn't medium or heavy encumbrance,
Okay.
but it's like I'm like, I don't have anything at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just had a recent experience with that. But in our games, we generally don't really worry about it that much.
Yeah, I mean, like if I have a low strength character, I try to travel super light. And if I have like a 16, 18, 20 strength, I'm like, all right, well, unless I'm being ridiculous about anything, it's not really going to be an issue. So
And when you fight, you're going to drop that Explorer pack anyway. So when you really need to care about like lifting and running around with stuff, it's
actually, that's an interesting discussion because I would totally do that to players that like goblins run off with their packs or something, which nothing will make your players angrier than doing something like that. But like, so some players might be like, well, I don't drop my pack or whatever. So like, I don't know, you guys out there, do you presume that your adventurer like drops their bag? Because I almost imagine like, you know, in high school when you can't go to your locker and you have this heavy ass backpack, and like if you happen to get into a fight, because I've had this happen to me before, where like I had to take a moment to like drop my backpack before things happened. Well, so like some punches happen, but like, so that's the thing. Like, I'm not gonna fight with a backpack strapped on my back as a normal human being. So I think like a fighter in armor with weapons also is not.
Yeah, I think I would have thrown my backpack at them. If
Did
I'm
you-
going to
did you
take
have
trouble
a-
to drop it to the
Did you have
ground.
D&D books in that book bag?
No, it was this weird where I had like 4 periods worth of books, and it was like 25, 30
Yeah,
pounds.
they
at
got
that
pretty
point.
So, you know, the question is, do we have any active or inactive service people out there that have been in firefights? Hey, what do you do with your pack
Yeah.
if it happens to be on your back when things break out? They're like, dude, you're not even worrying about your pack. You're just shooting back. That's
There's
my
that.
guess.
Yeah, so I don't really worry about it unless
Do we-
like,
do we
look,
wanna
there's just
try-
too much stuff.
Do we want to try an experiment now?
What's
What
the
are we doing?
experiment?
We're going to see if Kyle can successfully do the screen share to give away the bag of Nord.
Oh, okay.
All
Bear
right.
with us, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
this is exciting. So we'll see if this is going to happen, and yeah. So there we go.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's
All right. So he's got. Can you guys see that? I hope so.
We're going to find out in a moment. Now he's going to click the button. There's a delay anyway, Kyle.
Okay. So you want to read that name?
Looks like we have Randy Ringer.
Randy Ringer, you are the proud owner of 5 decks from Nord Games, consisting of 3 critical decks, a lucky deck, and an NPC deck, and this gorgeous Crown Royal bag. And all this can be yours if you
Actually,
email us at gmail@nerdarchy.com.
Yeah. Gmail@nerdarchy.com.
Oh, yeah. Flip that around.
Nerdarchy@gmail.com.
And
Don't mind me.
we'll also try to comment back to your video on that 30K giveaway, so this way we
Yeah.
can try to ping you and yeah.
Nice. Are we done screen sharing? Perfect. You're awesome, Kyle. You're
Alright.
hired. We just doubled his salary. After already doubling his salary for showing up early.
So is that a double makes a triple, or are we actually going quadruple now?
Let's go quadruple. Let's be generous.
Yeah, we just
All right.
quadrupled. Fine, we'll see how we
Quadruple.
can get this, how high we can get his salary up to by the end.
All right. So do we want to see about going twice and going to the next screen share?
Oh man, that's just crazy.
Double screen share.
Well, let's have them pop back to the comments real quick, and we'll mess with them a little bit. And see if they actually saw, and if Randy actually
Happens
answers.
to be.
Yeah.
Can we summon a Randy Ringer?
Do we all have to hold hands and say his name 3
Seance.
times or
I
something?
mean, like, you know, if you're going to have a name, having a alliterative name is the way to go.
yeah, I'm going to do that next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna choose your own name next
Yeah,
time.
next time. Yeah, when I reincarnate like the Dalai Lama.
Sounds like a porn star name a little bit. Randy Ringer.
The incantation has failed. Randy is not summoned.
Wah,
All right.
wah, wah.
Now, did they respond whether they saw the screen share?
A lot of congrats, Randy.
I'll take it as a yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, they definitely saw it. Chad wants to know if we're ordering pizza from Papa John's.
Papa
Nice.
Juan's. There's a Little Caesars close by for those hot and ready sort of situations.
Yeah. That $5 pizza that tastes like a $7 pizza. Quote back click. I love that description. My favorite. So we also have another giveaway to announce, right? Our monthly giveaway, which if you guys have either sent any mail-in requests or mail-in forms that we have over on the website, it's in the header. You can check that out. Or if you happen to be a patron, you're just automatically entered.
Yeah, so our sweet giveaway for our sweet Patreons, which
So-
we love you guys. Thank
So
you
we
much.
have from Secret Weapon, it's a set of dungeon terrain.
And I
Nate.
think we have it
Excellent.
up, and there's some rustling over there. But that picture looks fantastic, Nate.
Yeah.
Nate,
I just whipped it over and set it up and took a picture. Bam.
Yeah. So we heard it here first, folks. Nate whipped it out.
whipped it out and took a picture.
Yeah, I know your picture.
Whoa.
Whoa, buddy.
We're back.
Woohoo.
So
All right. So far, so
what,
good.
That's what we're going to be sending out. We will choose the next winner. So the first Saturday of April, we'll announce who happens to get that. We have gotten contact from Ivan to send out the Book of Layers and the Easy Roller Dice Tray,
And that's going international.
and that's going.
Oh yeah,
international.
our first shipment to Bolivia. Now we've shipped
Bulgaria.
Bulgaria.
Same difference.
The ball's in there.
Nate doesn't know, or no, Dave doesn't know geography very well.
Like the rest of Americans. So now we've shipped to Australia, we've shipped to the UK, and now we're going to Bulgaria. That's awesome.
We need like a map, and then we can have like push pins, but the heads of the pins will have Nerdarchy logos on them.
Yeah,
Oh, that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
And by awesome, I mean it's awesome that we have friends all over the place. It's less awesome when they win.
Yeah.
And you know what, though? Even Ivan was really cool. He's like, I know I'm a Patreon, but it'll take me like
Years.
6 years to pay back this prize that I won. But that's okay. We don't mind. Or the shipping, because the Kobold Press had actually donated the
Cold Press donated
Book
the
of
book,
Layers and Easy Roller Dice, the dice tray, which is really cool. So thank both of those companies.
as well as thank you to Secret Weapon for donating the dungeon terrain.
Yes.
There we go.
Is there a link in the description?
The link I do not believe is in the description.
It's
Cool.
Secret Weapon Miniatures.
But it is
.com.
probably on our thank you page over on nerdarchy.com.
It should absolutely be there.
So, and also too, like if you enjoy these giveaways that we do and the content that we put out, please check out the thank you page because those people really help us make it happen. And they might have some cool stuff that you want to actually buy. So
Yeah.
check it out.
There you are. Yeah, and I mean, while we're doing that, there's also been the which has been really well received, the Learning to Play D&D series sponsored by Easy Roller Dice. So thanks to those guys for doing that and helping us. Those videos take a little bit more time and effort to like organize and put together. Like they're, believe it or not, they are kind of scripted. So
And edited it.
Despite popular belief.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the last one we did was like 22 minutes, edited down to like 14 minutes.
Yeah.
It took like 2 hours at least to
Yeah.
get to edit that video down and put the cool stuff in there and make it look somewhat decent. But some people are going to pick us up on us anyway because they're mean.
Yeah.
They're mean.
Slay the trolls.
So what else do we got? Anything else we need to bring up for what's going on in the future? I know Ted had been asking who's going to Gen Con. He was curious over in the NAG. Oh, last time I checked, we were 5 away from Company of the NAG getting 500.
Oh man, that's a benchmark.
It is.
Yeah.
So if you guys are over on Facebook, but you're not a member of Company of the NAG, you should join there.
Secret
There's
Facebook.
games that pop up.
The secret group.
Yeah,
Our non-secret secret group.
Yeah, our secret group. Yeah, but there's there's games that are starting up there. There's awesome conversations. We've gone into there when we're short for players for games to get them. So it's just a cool place to hang out.
Yep.
And lots of cool conversations that happen. We're in there hanging out, talking, and doing stuff.
We also there's the Nerdarchy newsletter. If you guys aren't on that, you should get on that where we give weekly tips. There's like a 3 email series when you first join there.
And then from there, it's just a weekly, and it's just like, hey, this thing's been rattling around my brain for this week, and here's
Yeah.
the thought. But if there's something we really want to make a lot of noise about, too, we'll put it in there in the newsletter.
Indeed. A little bit ago, we talked about patrons, so I would like to give a big shout out to all of our patrons. Thank you so much for the support that you do.
Yep. Thank you to you guys, gals, and ghouls, even if
So
you're of the undead persuasion.
the thing that I wanted to touch on beyond the general thank you was, we've been sending out our rewards. I was a little bit late in getting them out to you, but you should have them all by now. Want to get some feedback on that. If you guys are enjoying the format and the style and this and that, if you could send us either message through Patreon or through Gmail and let us know what you think, or even if you have any suggestions about what you would like to see.
Excellent. And while we're thanking people, we'd like to thank everyone that's been using our links that are affiliate links. That when you click them and use them, we get a small commission for that, which we greatly appreciate. It helps Nerdarchy grow.
Yeah, it gives us more duct tape to keep this thing going. Yeah. So we have any good conversation, any good questions coming through?
A little bit of debate as to how the metamagics work for the sorcerer class. Let's see.
Where does
Can-
it begin?
If you are a sorcerer and cleric with the distant spell and twin spell, could you cast Cure Wound on 2 people at its max level for all of your sorcerer points?
The only Empower spell is one that lets you combine metamagics. That one you can have that and something else going, but any other instance you can only apply effect of 1 metamagic at a time.
And who asked?
That was... I missed it here. That was Embershade Innkeeper.
Okay. Yeah, I had someone ask me a bunch of sorcerer questions like that, and I'm like, for the most part, you can only use 1 metamagic at a time unless it's a power. And for the other thing is you still have to follow certain rules. Like if you quicken a spell, you still can only cast a spell and a cantrip in a round. You can't do double spells. There's only one thing in the game that lets you break that rules, and that's Fight or Action Surge.
Yeah. Well, and the magnificent thing about Quicken Spell is it lets you cast a spell on the round, and then if something required your action to do it, like say using the telekinesis spell that you're already concentrating on, you can do that provided the spell you quicken wasn't also a concentration spell. So Fireball, then affecting somebody with telekinesis, perfectly legit.
Well, actually, what I'm dying to do is use Witch Bolt, concentrate that on that, and a twinned Witch Bolt that I concentrate from round to round on, while throwing my other spells as quicken spells.
That's just nasty. So,
Yeah.
are you gonna dip into Warlock, or are you gonna take Magic Initiate to get Witch Bolt?
Oh, it's on the sorcerer list.
Is it? That unlimited power.
Unless I'm mistaken, but I think it is on the sorcerer
Yeah, I would
list.
have to double check that because that's really sweet.
Especially if you jack it on the first round.
Yeah, that is just nasty. I think we have some research going on.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I'm like, we're not even done yet, and our intern Kyle is
Just
already
run
quit.
off. Yeah. Fuck you guys.
He's like, I'm gonna run away.
Ranger Roy commented, looking forward to the game with Nate. So great, I'm looking forward to it as well.
Have these people been contacted yet?
Yes,
Okay.
I've left. I haven't checked the email. That's what I want to say. I haven't checked the email to see who has responded yet.
Okay.
But yes, they've been contacted.
Oh, it is on the surface.
It is on the list.
Oh, there you go.
Never listen to Ryan for rules.
Dave gets some XP there.
Always
When
keep
is
a
that game
PHP.
again, just so they know?
Oh, the 25th of March, I believe at 7. Yeah.
Did you change the time?
Why did they put 5?
I believe you told me either 5 or 6, and that was initially announced. But
Oh no, now I don't remember.
Oh, no. At some point at that time, Nate is going to randomly email you and be like, it's time.
It's time.
Be ready. Just block out that whole
Well,
Saturday.
you know, it's going
I'll
to be
check
like
the time that I told the people. That's what happened.
Well, that's
Yeah.
ultimately that's more important about what you told the players versus what I said out there to.
it's like the first Matrix movie where the phone just rings. It's like, hello, Neo.
Good, Kyle.
So Kurt is asking regarding Patreon, when are we doing the 9 of the Nags video chat? Was there one for February?
So, would you like to field this one? today?
Absolutely. What we wound up doing is we reached out to everybody, and I said, look, we've had a hard time actually getting times locked down. When do people want to do? And I got whatever. No one gave us any dates. So we're going to be moving forward. We did not do one in February. Moving forward, we as Nerdarchy, we're going to pick a time and say this is when we're doing the 9 of the Nag. Whoever is able to make it from the 9 will get in. We'll talk about whatever. If you're unable to make it, then you can just provide us with a list of topics or things that you would like us to discuss or questions that can be answered, and that'll be our moving forward format.
It's been a little bit of wrangling cats. Like we really appreciate your level of support. It's just like we want to know almost like, are we bothering you by trying to like send out this stuff or not? Like we want to give you guys the reward that you're entitled to because we're saying, hey, we're providing this. It's just been difficult to sort of just coordinate with people.
And
so
we've even gotten responses like, hey, I don't actually care if I'm in it this month.
yeah.
So that makes it really tough. So from going forward, we just can't do it by committee anymore like we kind of been doing.
We just have to pick a standard date and time. And
Right.
and time.
or give 2 dates and say everyone pick one.
Right. I mean, we could just have like a set status, like default 2 dates, and like, hey, A or B, and then like this way we can just have it as close and lined up as possible. So moving forward, it just logistics are hard. So
But it was a little bit easier when it was just kind of Chris and Chris.
Yeah.
Not to say that I don't want your guys' support, because we absolutely do love you guys for doing it. It's just the more you get, the harder it is to get everybody in one go.
yeah. So yeah, we'll try. We're trying to alleviate the scheduling issues that we've had with it. So yeah.
So I hope that answers your question, Kurt. I hope that hope that's right on board with what you're looking for.
So there is one thing that I believe Patreon started offering, and that is polls.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking maybe we should start polling the Patreons on what they want us to cover too, just in general.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, we might start doing it. I was thinking we need to start engaging a bit more over there,
Yeah.
and talking to you guys and building that community up. And that might be a good way to do it. Different polls and different ideas for videos and stuff. And then, I mean, it doesn't guarantee we're going to do them all, but we'd like to get some more input from you guys.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And but that also being said too, if you're a Patreon supporter, like we kind of weigh your suggestions a little more heavily, just because like you're actively supporting us on a different level. Like we appreciate everyone's support, but it's just like another strata of support. And so if you guys have suggestions as Patreon, like you can just put in the subject line of the email like Patreon supporter, and then like video suggestion or something like that.
Right.
Like if you had some idea that you wanted us to cover, more the merrier. And just if you're a viewer, we absolutely take suggestions in that regard too. But might move you up a little bit further in the line as well.
Although right now the list is really long.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe I was overwhelmed. They all came in 1 week. I was like, that's because we did 2 GM911s, I guess, this past week.
It's kind of like a feast or famine sort of situation.
Yeah.
Like it's either dry as a gulch or torrential rain.
I'll take the torrential rain.
Then we're gonna have to decide whether or not by the time we get to it, if it's still going on.
If it's relevant.
Well, right. But we then can field the ones that we aren't able to do videos of here.
Oh, and by the way, we have a video response going out to Taking 20 Monday morning. So I've confirmed it was not us that gave the bad advice.
Yeah.
And you're like, what is he talking about?
You gotta watch the video. It's utterly hysterical.
Oh, for my game at 6 p.m.
Oh, good.
Eastern Standard Time.
So it wasn't 5 or 7.
Right in the middle.
Well, I thought it was 5 or 6. And he was saying 7.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I just copied it, so I don't know why I thought 7. Whatever.
Are
Are we still talking about Patreon? Because I'm writing most of the content for the Patreon. Well, I'm writing and figuring out a lot of stuff for it, and with Ryan and Dave and Ted's help, I was interested in seeing about doing a live stream chat with some people from Patreon to kind of see what they're interested in seeing as far as the rewards. It's kind of going to get like, not necessarily that I'll be able to do exactly what people vote on, but the idea of getting some more.
That's totally going to turn into Dance Monkey Dance.
Which they just want a video of Nate in a giant monkey costume dancing.
Wearing a bonnet.
Yeah.
A baby monkey,
Yeah.
baby ape.
Riding backwards on a pig, baby monkey. Go. Solid video.
So Rob Kears would like to know if you guys have any tips for interesting dungeon puzzles that aren't obviously puzzles. He feels like it often breaks immersion when it doesn't fit into the scenario.
Well, behind Dave's head is a book called Tower of the Riddle Master. It's one of 3 books that they're just riddles and puzzles and this and that, but there a lot of them are very easily converted into a D&D-esque version. So I would look into those veins and see, because they're not things that are, oh, this is completely scripted for D&D, but a lot of them work if you just tweak a little bit or change the wording a little bit.
I also feel just by nature, like once you break out like those kind of puzzles, it's going to break a little bit anyway. So it's just part of the game. Like,
Right.
It's a game.
Well, like certain facets of the game, like combat is a slightly different game than roleplay scenarios. Puzzles, again, they're like combat in that regard, that like, oh, once we're doing a puzzle, like the onus is kind of on the players to play as their characters doing the puzzle. Like if you dumped out your strength and your intelligence and wisdom like you're probably not the one solving the puzzle or having the helpful suggestions. But the player may be very smart and very, very good at solving puzzles.
But that doesn't mean you can't give suggestions.
You can, or you could give out of game suggestions, and like the smart character should be the one writing. Like,
well, what Dave is suggesting is you
for the role playing.
Yeah, for the role playing, you actually throw out things that you know aren't going to work.
Yeah.
And you can actually do that. Be like, oh, I smash it. You know?
And here's the other thing, right? Like you guys kind of touched on it, but the fact that if you have a super smart character in the game, like a 20 intelligence, right? The collective of the group feeding him ideas actually helps bring him on par to the intelligence of his character, but still isn't even close because it's impossible to roleplay up to an intellectual stat that you do not have. Right? And most people, a 20 intelligence, you're like a genius or godlike intelligence. So, we
all can't be Nate.
or Sherlock Holmes, like the way that he would.
Maybe Boris Stremlin can pull it off.
Yeah.
But most average gamers are not. So that breaking of immersion that you're talking about actually better reflects that aspect of the game.
Right. Do super high stat. I mean, it's even hard to play an incredibly low stat if like you're somewhere middling of that. So yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah, I was playing, in Scott's Gamma World game. I play a character with a 5 intelligence. So I try and play him like a toddler, pretty much, in the way he interacts with things, and it's probably annoying to people.
So. I found him amusing.
Yeah. So there's that. It's like I made a genetic throwback Dragonborn for 4th edition, a Dragonborn barbarian named Gygax, but I made him that like Dragonborn don't normally have tails. He was like a Neanderthal version of a Dragonborn, and he did. And he basically used 5-word sentences.
Complex.
Yeah, very complex.
Got anything else over there, Kyle?
The chat is full of discussion about evolving magic items, and we also have some CR talk about lowering CR and some more hate for the lore master.
Seems pretty standard.
Could Ryan please talk about lore master?
I actually did get that request, yes.
Ryan. Who requested that? Who's our troll?
Oh man, I would have to go surfing through that one.
I know there's the talk.
I believe it was Kurt.
Lowering a treant so you could wild shape into it.
Yes, exactly. A druid was looking to DM wanted to lower. I'll find the exact one here.
The problem with that is it's not a beast. So that's your first obstacle. You would have to allow your druid,
special druid or something,
to wild shape in the plants. Although that could possibly be an archetype.
Yeah.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, hint, hint.
That was from Draconis Frostburn.
Okay,
that's a badass name.
Yeah, and so that's actually a great idea because like maybe we'll make that archetype for one of the Patreon ones. That would be really cool. Someone also wants the Beast Companion Druid. I do too, kind of, and it requested that we do a video on those.
Yeah. So
I saw that email.
So for a future D&D thing, we could do. I was thinking with Guardians of the Galaxy 2 on the horizon. Groot and Rocket. We could kind of come up with the 2 of those.
Oh, we could absolutely do that. I believe there's a ranger for that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think at some point that should be on the horizon. And we already have shifters, so I think that's as close as you're going to get for a rocket.
Yeah, it kind of works. Really short one.
Yeah, just make him a little guy.
Yeah, short in stature but large in attitude.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you guys see Logan? Who's seen Logan so far?
I haven't yet. I want to.
Yeah. So it's just me and Squire, Kyle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Suck. It was really good. I enjoyed it. It was actually the first X-Men movie that actually felt like an X-Men movie.
Well, that's uplifting to hear because I've been so disenchanted.
Not when
with the
you realize
franchise.
that it's the last one that Hugh Jackman's doing.
Well,
But
whatever. I mean,
you know what? I got a mini rant. Right.
17 years worth of doing the movies.
I was watching.
Wait, we have a request from Draconis. No spoilers.
Oh no, I'm not. It's not about that. I believe it was Jessica Chobot. I don't know if she's Nerdist. I'm not sure which.
Yeah, I think
What
she's
she's-
with Nerdist.
But she, oh my god, like she did a really good kind of solid review and was talking about. But she did say one thing that pissed me off to no end. Like with the Deadpool movie and the Logan movie being rated R. Oh, Fox has finally realized they have to make rated R movies to make good movies. No, motherfuckers, you just need to make good movies. Have a good script, good dialogue, and sticking to the stories that were written that have won awards and people have paid good money to see before, instead of putting your own artistic bullshit spin on it that nobody cares about. You can update the story, that's great, but stick true to the characters. That's why those movies were good, not because they slapped a rated R on it. Just cursing in a movie does not make it better. No, you have to have a good story, you have to have good dialogue, you have to stay true to the nature of those characters. That's why they did good. It made me so mad when she said that.
So there's this filmmaker, Patrick H. Willems, who has a YouTube channel. Like, he did a thing where he did the X-Men as if who's that director that Wes Anderson, as if Wes Anderson did the X-Men and things like that. So he makes these like very film like pieces. But he did this whole discussion, 10-15 minutes, of what it would take to have a good, solid Fantastic Four movie. And like, it was just like getting the family dynamic right, because it's like, you know, Sue and Reed are kind of like the mother and father, and then the Thing and Johnny, they're like the two kids basically with their own disparate personalities, and that absolutely doesn't need to be a rated R movie. It just needs to be an adventuresome family dynamic movie.
Well, yeah, like, I mean, there was a little bit of that in that, but they changed so much. They changed so much of the content that it's like, why do you even bother? Like superficial changes, like changing the race of an actor, like I could care less about. You know, whatever, as long as they play the part well and the core of the character still remains. That's not really relevant. Like, you see Iron Fist gets a lot of flack because they didn't use an Asian actor, but the character's not Asian and it's a fish out of water story. Like, so oh crap, what's the character's name? Last name's Rand. Danny Rand. The key thing to that character. Now, they could have made him Asian and it would have been the same thing, but I almost feel like they've been making fun of Asians. Like, oh, look, here's an Asian guy and he does martial arts. Like, that's not a stereotype at all.
Well, people are going to complain no matter what you do. So,
but actually, if people aren't complaining about what you're doing, nobody gives a shit about what you're doing.
But if they're going to do an Asian martial arts character, hopefully they do Shang,
the Kung Fu Master.
Yeah, it's Shang something. I don't remember. I didn't actually read the books, but why not actually use that character, right? Like, they already have him, and it would be good if it would be cool if he got introduced in the Iron Fist storylines, because those characters have parallels, and they'd be on the same parallel level, and there could be some, you got to do the classic, some conflict in the beginning, have them battle it out a little bit. That would be really cool.
Yeah, basically like a Kung Fu theater style fight between the two of them.
Yes.
Would be pretty awesome. Yeah.
So to me, for like, when you're talking about superhero movies, it's just about identifying what makes that character, and using that and retelling some of the really great stories that we got to read in the comics.
And also too, not going after the larger movie-going audience as a whole, but like preach to the choir, because those people are already hungry for that, and like, you're gonna bring in some curious people anyway. Like, Deadpool was very much in the nature of what that character is. I haven't seen Logan yet, but it's from what it sounds like they portrayed that pretty well as well, because he's a little more gritty of a character.
Right.
It was really good.
I'll have to check that out at some point in time.
Okay, so it looks like we have Zerif Gaming wants to know how to roleplay as Death Knight Lord Soth without being corny.
Like, he's over the top evil in some ways, so it is a little bit corny. Like, I wonder if they mean it as the GM or a player playing, Lord Soth. As a GM, it doesn't matter, because in theory he should only be making short cameos. It shouldn't be that long. So you don't have a lot of dialogue, I don't think, to be corny with. He's gonna be kind of very much matter of fact, a little Judge Dredd-ish.
And I think build up is a big deal. So you have to have how Lord Soth affects everybody else around. So if there's peasants that are being harmed in some way by his choices, if there's people basically like when you do like the same thing if we were doing like something larger than life character like Strahd, you've got to build up to interacting with him. You just can't just throw him in and be like, oh, random encounter.
You know what? I think a good map, Darth Vader. Like, look at Darth Vader, dialogue and everything like that. Just play him kind of like Darth Vader.
Yeah, that's spot on.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Shortest answer.
It's Darth Vader. I'm play map.
Yeah.
We're getting a very lengthy lesson on comic books from Comic Book University.
There we go. You go to the Comic Book University.
What's up, the bill?
If you want to have our corrections, he's really good. Especially now he's got that new kicking mic that we can hear him.
Yeah. My earbuds are such crap that I can really not hear anything. Most video creators that make even stuff that is a good volume typically,
Yeah.
I have problems. So I need to get like some good solid headphones or something. One of these
Did he
days.
pick up a Yeti?
He did pick up a Yeti. You got any good tips in there for us?
Uh,
Did he tell us everything we got wrong?
let's see. It looks like the martial artist's name was Shang-Chi, and we have a very long description of Kunlun, and he says that it isn't on Earth, and the doorway is only once every decade. So yeah, that's pretty much the synopsis there.
Ted is the atlas of the books.
Yeah, and he does actually a bunch of Comic Book University. Go to his channel after you're done watching this, of course. Has a bunch of stuff on Iron Fist and a bunch of other characters as well. You should check them out. I love his stuff.
There you go. Ted.
And he's a Jersey boy too. So boom.
Yeah,
Nice.
back in the day.
But he's fled to Canada, so
Well, can still be nice.
he's betrayed us. Never mind.
Went over to the dark side. To the maple syrup side.
What is Nate trying to figure out? He pulled out a monster manual.
I'm just looking something. I'm good.
He's like,
He's like Death Knight, Death Dog.
He's not worried about us. He's in his own.
yeah.
Sorry.
I'm-
I got a
I'm
question.
writing my next adventure.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
doing
writing the game for the fan, like right here.
I'm doing homework away from home, live stream.
So did we ask? Are people gaming tonight? Did anybody tell us what they're playing tonight?
Nothing so far for plans, but I'm sure it's going to pop up soon.
Got my game tonight, guys. Woo!
Tomorrow night.
I guess next week. I think the next game we're going to post, since mine was this weekend, next weekend will probably be Scott's Gamma World game. We had a little dry spell in December for games, and then January was rough with the cruise and everything.
Right.
But now we have this like build up of a backlog, and it seems like we're gaming every weekend, which is cool. And then, well, I am gaming every week, so with my Wednesday night game, which is a blast. I'm having fun with that. I never know what those guys are going to do.
And now you're joining Timmy's game.
I am. So much gaming going on. I'm excited to try out a sorcerer. So
Very cool.
6th level.
What background did you go with? Oh, you went stone. The stone.
Stone origin.
Yeah.
Yeah, background. I don't know what background.
Stone origin.
Oh, he's a hermit.
Oh, nice.
I totally went with hermit. Yeah.
So what? How often is that game going to be going?
I think he games once a week. So I don't know how many sessions he's got me in Arced in for.
Okay.
So we'll see how that goes.
Are you going to ask him what's your motivation?
Maybe.
So we're gonna have
I
that,
ask myself that.
have that link shared on the Facebooks when.
Yeah. When that game's going up, we'll share it around so you guys can check it. And then obviously, when we do our live chat next weekend, it'll be in the description, so you guys can check out Timmy's stuff as well.
Or as Colville might say, in the doodly do. Got to be in the doodly do.
Gotta be.
Okay, so it looks like we do have a question from Flathagen. He wants to ask Ryan specifically, playing as a mastermind rogue archetype, do you find yourself using the help action all the time?
Sometimes, because I sometimes do the 2 dagger throwing thing. Not all often, but then again, like who do we have in? See, it's funny if Hemsworthy was in the same campaign as Bloodfang, I'd be using the help action all the time. But we don't have a massively heavy hitter. Like sometimes I'll throw it to Mark's character, Barry's or Terry's. Is it? I don't know. His character died.
He's Tyrant.
He's Terry's now. Yeah, so I'll throw it to Terry's often enough, but. It is good because the action economy, trading a bonus action to give someone else one of their attacks advantage is great. But as help is written, like to trade your entire action for 1 attack, like that's kind of rough. But yeah, so most of the time.
Also too, I think it would almost depend on whether you hit with your first attack too. It's like, how do I want to use my bonus action?
Because you still have sneak attack. So
yeah. So that makes it
a big difference.
Makes it challenging.
Well, I mean, it is it's a core feature of that archetype. So.
It's funny. There's certain classes that like have nothing to do with their bonus actions and reactions, and then you have other ones that are like there's choices.
So many choices.
I feel like with the more unearthed arcanas that come out too, like that's a really strong area they're hitting is creating archetypes that have more options for those extra actions.
Yeah, bonus or reaction.
I think those are the build of Fifth Edition.
Like the only redeeming redeeming factor to the Berserker Barbarian build, in my opinion, is retaliation strike. But you got to get like 14th level before you can even get it, because they get to use that reaction that you hit me, I hit you, which is really cool. But their Berserk thing, using your bonus action just to,
It's terrible. But, so the Barbarian is like the wild magic sorcerer, basically. Because it's like 14th level when you can control your surges.
he just needs a great weapon of speed. If you use weapons as written,
Yeah.
I mean, use the rules as written, a great weapon of speed is way better than Berserker.
Yeah,
So,
pretty much. Yeah. Or taking the Great Weapon Master feat, which if you drop something, I'm playing a Barbarian, so the odds are pretty high. Or if you crit, that you get to use that bonus action for another attack on an adjacent foe. So there you are. And Bob's your uncle.
Actually, he is.
It's true. You do have an uncle named Bob.
So Brian Tiong wants to know, do you guys have any tips on how to deceptively use slaadi in my campaign?
Oh,
Didn't we did a whole video on slaadi.
we did. I don't know if we
Yeah.
discussed deceptively using them.
well,
I mean, put them all in clown suits.
Do-
What do you want to do?
well, I mean, no,
some
the-
of them have shape change.
Yeah. So
yeah.
the ones that shape change, you can just do like a plot, like a body snatcher sort of thing. They have the thing with the tadpoles.
Mm.
I think anything that works well with Doppelganger would work well with the Slaadi.
agree.
Yeah, I mean, if you're shape changing, there really isn't anything else to do. Like, they don't look like slaadi, and if no one sees them doing slaadi shit, they're not slaadi.
There you go.
Yeah, and like they could start slowly, insidiously infecting people with slaadi tadpoles. Maybe they take over an institution and sort of start to go out from there, like a
Make them the
church
witch
or-
hunter, like
Yeah.
the witch hunter type, the head,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
order,
Yeah,
and he's actually the slaadi, and they're hunting down the people that are that they believe are slaadis.
Yeah.
And infecting other people.
so basically he's casting dispersions on other. Yeah, it's great.
Yes. I mean, that's the only thing that really comes to mind, unless you're looking for something more specific.
It's like an Inquisition storyline.
Albert Ramirez Bail Bonds wants to know
Oh,
what
love
the
it,
best
love it.
spells for Eldritch Knight are.
Haste.
Haste, shield.
Yeah, haste, shield. Absorb elements. I like that as well. I like.
And then your big area of effects, because you don't have that in your toolkit as a fighter, right? So
Yeah, I mean, and when you get higher level, you're going to be able to take an attack and cast a spell.
like a fireball or a lightning bolt.
Yes,
Yeah.
so that comes in useful. You can lightning bolt someone and smack them in the head with your axe if you have to use an axe.
You also use magic missile. Yeah, it's just like, all right, I'm not in combat yet, so that's a easy.
Yeah, mirror image is another really good one. The thing with to keep in mind with the Eldritch Knight though is you really have to pick and choose, because you only get certain schools you can pick from, and then you get X amount of like exception spells.
Yeah.
So that's like the balancing act. It's really hard for me to say because I play a wizard Eldritch Knight, so I have like a ton of different options when it
Right.
comes to spells, and it just adds to my caster level and gives me some like fun things to do.
So part of that discussion is going to be: are you mixing up with wizard, or are you just playing? All right, I'm an Eldritch Knight planning to go the full tilt, and you're just looking for spells that are going to boost your combat prowess. In that case, haste, shield, absorb elements are kind of going to be your go-tos.
One of the combos that I like doing is haste, because you cast the haste spell as your action, but then as part of haste you get to attack as part of your round. So you still get your attack in when you start combining that with action surge. So you definitely like haste, smack someone with your weapon, and then drop a fireball on them as well. So you get to do fun things like that. Misty Step is a spell that I've used quite often. It's great for covering distances. Maybe you can't go through an area. Maybe you just want an extra 30 feet of movement. There's a lot of cool things with that as
A lot
well.
of scenarios that becomes very advantageous.
Getting on top of the holder head, that kind of stuff.
Just bamfing in general.
Yes. That's not what I generally do. Well, that's not true. I did try it once and decided it did not go well as I anticipated at all.
Well, you're not Scott, so
Scott saw how badly it went for me, and he's like, I know what I need to do.
I got to
Jump
do
on its
that
head.
at least once.
Yeah.
Maybe dive down its mouth.
Beat it up from the inside.
All right, so what I was looking for, I was looking through different monsters. I was getting this, like the tree ant thing kind of bothered me. I wanted to kind of look at what I could do with it. And so if you're, the issue is if you're looking to transform into a tree ant because you want the powers of the treant, then it's a no-go, like to begin with, because you can summon treants, and you also count as a siege monster, like a siege damage monster. So those two things are like super uber powerful, I think, anyway. But if you just want to turn into like a creature that looks like a tree, you could do things that like select things of, pick basically a beast or some kind of monster that counts as what you can wild shape in.
Well, they got twig blights and like that whole the blights. I think it's under bait.
Yeah, I don't.
Because there's like 3 different kinds over there. They're definitely a plant thing, and they would probably make good substitutes.
Oh, they're all quarter and eighth CRs. I mean, like a mini level druid could turn into them if you allowed it. But there's a lot of
yeah, but you got to remember too. You're only doing a third if you're
not the circle of the moon.
If you are circle of the moon, and the other one is even weaker.
So to do, well, I think they said something about a 5 CR. So what's that? You need to be 15th level to do that.
If you're circle of the moon,
You have to be 20th level if you're.
yeah, like that's one of the problems. Like
Okay.
like you have to be 21st level circle of the moon to go T-Rex.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was thinking, well, you could do something like a Triceratops as the base monster, and then just ignore that as a Triceratops and just make it a different type of treant, one that moves faster. You can make up like a whip willow or something like that, where you're tree-like, but you really just use the exact stat block and everything of the Triceratops or another similar monster of whatever level you want to turn into. If you wanted to have that elemental
What
plant.
did you look at animated tree?
Hmm?
Animated tree, isn't there animated?
Well, there's an
tree?
animated shrub. Awakened shrub? That's
The 0 CR.
good stuff.
I didn't know if there was an animated
A
tree.
shrubbery.
I don't think there is a regular animated tree, at least not in the Monster Manual that I saw. But so I was looking at different CR stuff, and I think you can just reskin a monster that has appropriate actions. It might not give you the exact treant you want, but it could give you that. You could just be like, it's a treant. And this one just happens to run around and bowl people over and stomp them.
Yeah, because the treant, when he awakens or animates trees, it's basically like another treant.
Yeah.
You can't do certain things that a treant can.
This is the great thing that I found that some other rule systems do that D&D hasn't really properly incorporated. That is anything visual. It doesn't really matter to mechanical. So taking I want to wild shape into a tree, and I'm just going to use the stats for the Triceratops. If that's something that you've got high enough level to do, be a tree that's using that set of stats, and I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, it's a little bit faster. It's a little less armor class, but it has similar damage potential.
Yeah.
You're not hurling rocks or anything like that, but you've got, you could change one of those to a rock hurling instead of I think there's a charge.
Right.
So you can take the charge ability away and throw in the rock throwing, and bam, done.
Yep.
There you go.
All the research.
The reason I'm researching through my handy PHB is because we do have a request about spells here. Let's see who exactly sent that one, if I can get the scroll to load. They want to know if Scorching Ray and Hex, that combination is breaking the game, and that is from... Come on, it's got to be here. Okay, it's not here.
So that's kind of like the whole purpose of like Hex, and that's one of the things that makes it's a great spell for warlocks. Unfortunately, they don't get very many spells.
So you're
Yeah.
only gonna do that like maybe 2-3 times throughout the encounter. So, well, you do get to shift your hex. So, but yeah, so you don't. Get a lot
Yeah,
of
so,
that.
I mean, it's an extra D6 every time you hit, so game breaking hardly. I mean,
I'm not familiar with Scorching Ray. I know how Hex works.
yeah. Well, Scorching Ray gives you extra beams, right? And when you do damage,
Mhm.
and each one does like 3d6, I believe, or something like that.
So you can do like a 40.
You start with 3, and then when you up it, you get more beams.
You create 3 rays of fire and hurl them at targets within range. You can hurl them at one or several, and make a ranged spell attack for 2d6 fire damage. 3rd level or higher, you create 1 additional ray.
Yeah.
So
So
wouldn't it be a similar effect if you were just Eldritch blasting them? You're hitting them with a bunch of individual blasts?
Yes.
Would it trigger the hex then for each
Yeah, every time.
Okay.
Yeah, and frankly, that's more brutal than the Searing Light in the sense that
Scorching Ray.
yeah, because Eldritch Blast is a cantrip. You can always just do it. A warlock that casts Hex and and Searing Light.
Scorching Ray.
Or Scorching Ray. I don't know why I keep calling it that.
You've basically you shot your wad.
Yeah. Depending on what level you are, you're out of spells.
Yeah.
So
The only catch I'm seeing for rules as written is that Hex can only be placed on a target creature. It's not on yourself. So you can't hit several targets. You need to hit all of those rays at one target.
yes,
Yeah. Well, so yeah, Hex is nice because you can keep it going, but it's a lot of your spell casting potential. Scorching Ray and the what is the bolt that they get? Which bolt? No, Eldritch Blast. That like you have to roll to hit, so you still have to hit whatever it is you're attacking. So you have to be good enough to hit the target.
Yeah, and Ranger does it all the time anyway.
Yeah.
They have Hunter's Mark they can do it with, and they can also have Colossal Slayer, so they actually do it even better.
Yeah.
And they never run out of sword or axe or arrow.
Yeah.
Arrow they could run out of, but
That's true.
DM Blackwall is looking for some tips about Monastery or Abbey plot hooks.
Monastery, like that could be a dungeon crawl, that could be a murder mystery. There is tons of ways to go with that.
You could have a cabal that's trying to take over the order. You could have
A schism,
We did
a heretic.
We did a cult video dealing with taking over.
as Brian said, you could have a schism in the order so that they're on two separate sides.
That makes it a political game, essentially.
Yeah, you could have like a false messiah, or just a messiah that some people believe in, some don't. So, I mean, we have Judaism and Christianity. There you go. You can kind of take things from history and kind of weave them in.
Yeah, you could
Fantasize them up.
You could flavor it in such a way that some of the order have actually been granted magical powers of a cleric where others haven't, and this could fuel a debate or the division.
You could have an inquisition happen. What a show!
Maybe they're not regular clerics, but they're actually warlocks, and it's some kind of pact going on within it.
Yeah.
Or they could be monks. Yeah, they could straight up be monks.
Yeah,
though.
You could
as well.
do do things like Kung Fu theater style again. Yeah.
The head of the abbey could actually be corrupted by a demon dactyl or something. There's like so many different ways you could go with that.
or replaced by a doppelganger or a slaad linking back to earlier.
Yeah.
All kinds of options. Many roads.
Comic Book University is singing praises of the speed factor optional rule from the DMG. He says it gives players a reason to use weapons that do less damage.
I actually do. I'm very interested in incorporating when I run a game. Like, I just think a dagger or a short sword should be significantly faster than a maul or a greatsword. So I think it is a very reasonable thing to incorporate into the game. And really, even too, with the way it affects from round to round, your spell casting, like higher level spells take longer to cast, so your choices matter when you do that. So I don't know. Like, I think it is an interesting thing to have like characters kind of jump. They have their base initiative, but what they choose to use could affect that, and they could have their defaults.
I personally, my opinion, I think it slows things down to set the initiative order once and use that for the combat. No fluffs, no changes. But that's just my take.
And then it also too depends on how much that speed factor incorporates reach as well. Sure, a dagger or a short sword is faster than a long sword, but you still have to close past the blade.
We got the DMG info saying that it's way too early in the morning.
Nice.
How
Crikey.
Gareth?
Well, if it used to be 3 over there, I guess what is it, 4 now?
Yeah, well, and also too, I think he's in like Japan.
No, he's in Australia.
He's back in Australia. Okay.
Japan was just a holiday, but he was on a holiday. He did not move to Japan, despite.
Rumors have been greatly exaggerated.
Yeah. What do you mean it's early? You're like a vampire or something anyway, aren't you? I figured you're just up all night. It was during the day.
Crafting.
We have some pretty interesting debate going on as to opportunity attacks and forced movement. Can you trigger them by moving somebody out of your reach?
By raw, no.
Yeah, there's not many things. Like, even having a reach weapon doesn't really do much for opportunity attacks unless you have Sentinel, right? So
Yeah. Matter of fact, having a reach weapon actually lets them move around you more without drawing attacks of opportunity.
Once they get in, it's like, I can run around in circles. And it doesn't matter.
So what is it? Technically, you have 8 squares you can move in if you have a regular weapon and not draw an attack of opportunity. Add a reach weapon to that, and it becomes 16. So
Yeah.
it becomes a disadvantage, really.
Nathan Harrow wants to know, how do you feel about massive wounds and lingering injuries for a grittier game? Do you feel like it would slow the game too much or bring fear into my players' hearts?
I think that if you're going for that grittier game, they absolutely are awesome. You just have to remove the spells and paladin abilities that let you just make them go away. If you want to have that okay, this happened and you have to rest it off.
So I'll give kind of like a jerk answer. It doesn't actually matter what we think. It's what you and your players are going to have fun playing. Like whether we hate it or love it, it's irrelevant because your players and your table, they have to enjoy the game. So it's a discussion you have with your players, and if they're on board with it, and then you play it.
The DMG info is saying that if he types stuff, there is a voice that reads it. Open the pod bay doors, Hal. Well, I can't let you do that, Gareth.
There we go.
It's like magic.
So Gareth, apparently you came in late. Off to the side here, we have
We have a
intern-
familiar. An
Oh,
imp.
yeah.
We have an imp.
We have intern Kyle.
No, I actually am just throwing my voice.
And his eyes. He can read comments from this far now.
Yeah.
Some good glasses.
Solid.
Binoculars.
LexK81 is asking you guys about your favorite monsters with a winky face.
With a wing.
To have sex with them.
Succubus.
I'm glad that's as good as a wink to a blind bat.
Right. All right. So anyone have a favorite monster? I don't know whether this is geared towards player versus DM. I think we've covered this a couple of times.
Yeah, in one of my last sessions, I had a lot of fun with the Boozoos.
There you go.
How about you? Ryan?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a thing we've covered, but it depends. Low level, high level. Gargoyles are fun. Carrion crawlers.
Gargoyle barbarians.
Gargoyle barbarians. Yes. There you go.
For ease of use and versatility and all the things you can do with it, I like goblins. But for like overall, I
So
really
boring. You
enjoy-
didn't even change your answer.
I really like. So what I would say is that for more interesting gameplay, I would say like the higher level stuff like illithids or liches. I'm really into that stuff.
Or tit golems.
Next Patreon reward.
I think we have a run up for the Patreon.
All right, Ryan, start working on that one.
That's our Patreon after dark reward.
Yeah. No Dark After
Flame
Dark.
Princess. What was it? Lamentations of the Flame.
Lamentations of the Flame Princess.
Would you guys want to see us play that? It's a OSR game, and
Old school revival.
yeah, Ian Christensen from Fantastic Dimensions is threatening us with a game of that. So
that was all started by me. I like learning new systems, and the best way, in my opinion, to learn is to sit down and play. So I thought, talk to somebody and see would they want to do a hangout, talk about the game, possibly make characters, and then have a follow-up where we actually play a one-shot. So let us know what you guys think out there, whether you'd like to see that happen. Because Lamentations of the Flame Princess is totally just, from what the information I've gathered, it's find interesting ways for your characters to die. So it would just be a slaughterfest.
Cool.
Well, I mean, there's Torchbearer, where essentially you're playing like the Nodwick sort of Squire character, and the character that makes it out is your first level character because you were just like a hireling that managed to make it to the end of the dungeon.
Nice.
So
Got a lot of bow tie love in the comments.
there we are.
There we
And
go.
Curtis Morin thinks that the intern takeover has begun. Step 1, wear a bow tie.
They're more sharply dressed than the people that are making it.
The next live chat, one of us will be wearing a bow tie. The next one after that, a second bow tie.
It's spreading.
Well, I do have, because the tie he's wearing came from Loot Crate, so I do have my own.
We do have a question.
Does it
It's from
bow
Comic
ties?
Book University. It does not regard bow ties, but it could if you'd like it to. Are Ted and Nate going to resume their videos on making miniatures?
This is not the first time that this has been asked. At some point in time, yes. When that will be, can't tell you.
It's actually Comic Book University each and every time.
Just a different.
Well, no, I actually think it was asked earlier because Nate actually showed me the comment.
No, I think it's that one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Unless he's asked it twice, but yeah, I'm interested. Got to do the setup. Got to do the time allotment.
figure out a good way to show it what's going on.
Make it happen.
We've got a sweet camera to do that now.
We do indeed.
No longer using the webcam.
I'm thinking so.
And now we got a cannon.
And I bought more pewter in case people are interested in pewter stuff. So I've got lots of pewter to make different things with.
We could do a
You can
spin-off.
make your own minis. Is that what you're saying?
Well, minis are going to be rough, but yeah, I mean, I could.
We can make a spin-off channel to Nerdarchy, Pewter Pie.
Pewter
Yeah. Bro fist. I don't know. That's a thing he says, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro fisting is the thing.
Oh, I wish I were.
I don't know. Any of you guys out there? Are you bro fisting?
Or double bro fisting.
So it looks like Ed Fleming wants to know what your favorite public place to play is. Bar, restaurant, library?
Strip club. Generally.
Bring some extra gold pieces.
I played in a late at night in a Denny's once or twice. That's happened. Game shops, but generally I like to keep my nerddom private, like behind closed doors, where it's only
In the
You know,
closet.
me and like 6 other dudes. Wink, wink.
Oddly enough, me and Ted kind of covered this a little bit in an upcoming video this week. Where we
Spoilers.
Or we talk about D&D and spectators and kind of like how we feel about it and different venues that we played in. I think one of the if it's a place that's kind of full of our peoples, then I like it better. But at the same time, it's always loud too, so that makes it tougher.
Generally, other than the game that I got attached to because of our friend Scott Garibay, I generally haven't gamed other than in someone's basement or at like a hangout place in college. That's about it. So
You have gamed at kitchen tables before.
all right, well, in people's houses, yeah, I understand.
Ted just set up this parameter where like he only games in basements. You have a basement? No, not coming over here.
In people's houses and college. Beyond that, there's been very little.
If it's an attic, it's a stretch, but no second floor first floor stuff. I like actually outside of pavilions as long as it's not too windy and not like raining on stuff. So usually I like covered like picnic table area.
So like a gazebo.
Yeah.
Oh no! What are you nuts? You're never going near the fucking gazebo.
I was thinking like how cool it would be to maybe at some point organize like if we had a big enough following. Like there's some venues in Philadelphia like where we could do like some live, like have a regular thing that's like monthly or whatever of a game that's kind of engineered for the entertainment of people that are watching. Because I think it's important to think about the pacing of if people are going to watch. It's a very different sort of beast than just having a game with your friends. Like you have to consider the audience somewhat.
Right.
So, but there would be some cool venues I could think of to make that happen, like in Philadelphia at some point.
And then actually too, in here in Woodbury, we have Tiki where we have the Nerdarchy table.
Yeah, that's true.
we could christen that at some point possibly.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like at a place that has like stadium seating type of like there's some risers and stuff like that. Like there's some places in Philly that would be viable options.
Oh, so you're talking about like
Theater.
Yeah, like making it a thing. Like people pay a little bit because they.
Would you guys pay for that? Would you want to see that?
Yeah. Well, you could probably figure out like a live streaming type of thing. Yeah. Like Nerd Purview.
Well, yeah, you could do both.
Yeah. Yeah, why not both?
So it looks like we got another one coming in here. Chad Sullivan Dixon wants to know, are there any monsters that you are genuinely afraid of fighting as players?
Rust monsters if I'm wielding a lot of gear.
I was genuinely afraid of the Death Tyrant after in our last session. I was definitely concerned, especially because we had a separate secret chat on Facebook to the that we excluded the DM from,
And we almost lost.
for plotting against the Beholder. And unfortunately, Scott is fun to play with, but he's not really good at it. So,
And optimizing.
yeah. Like his suggestions were a lot of ones that were going to get us killed.
Yeah.
Like we should probably definitely fight it from in the center of its eye stalks. That's where it'll be most vulnerable.
Well, he did handedly help very, very much so in the fight with the 4 golem ones.
He was leaping from Beholder.
And he was doing some very unorthodox wizard things.
Yeah, people were really enjoying that. The shit that he pulls off with the dice.
The fact that he's successful, like that's the thing. Like he has a pact. He is a warlock of fate. Is really he's got a fate pact to fate, the fates, the furies. Yeah.
So yeah, Death Tyrant, Rust Monsters. You guys afraid of anything ridiculous?
I think mind flayers, if done properly, could be utterly terrifying.
You did express in my game, and the session is already up for the first part for the other parties. But in my game, it might be a little bit of a spoiler, but the Catoblepus did come out, and you did express some concern over that.
It just, I think that's more like a mental thing that I need to work on. But that to me is just more like how impactful you've had, some of your first rounds. It's affected my personal morale and mentality. So,
Excellent. That's your objective as a GM, is to get your player huddled under the table, quivering in fear.
They need to lose before they roll the dice.
That's right.
but,
Beat them in their minds.
Before initiative, you kick them in the nuts.
but
Mentally
I
speaking.
think mind flayers, if done properly, they could really get one over on a party.
anything that is going to eat you if you lose kind of creeps me out. So,
Or
ghouls and up, really.
or instantly raises you as undead or something like that, where you're like, you really are, you're just done. Like the Death Tyrant, we had two players almost get killed and not come back. Well, they were gonna come back, but it's zombies. So
It's really quick.
but I'm thinking for the Owlbears, right? What if a GM had a way to rig up the chairs that the players are sitting in, so like something crawls up their back, like to touch the back of their neck as you're doing something with the Owlbears? Now that would be crazy.
Just
So
snakes.
that's
You just
the
have a
next-
snake.
That's some next level stuff.
Yeah.
though.
Maybe next time.
And-
Chat's tough, isn't it? They just talk to each other.
Yeah,
For the ghouls and other things that are going to eat you, you could have themed flavored theme food. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
I'm not going to put anything in between those two words. So that remind them of people getting.
So this is flavored like theme.
So if you're like having ghouls and that kind of stuff, you really go for the finger food.
Yeah.
Where
Maybe
if
a few
you're doing Owlbears,
eyeball jello. That kind of,
yeah,
for the Owlbears.
brain jello, man.
Brain jello.
That would be good too.
Out of a brain jello. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I know in some countries they take the monkey and stick it in the center of the table and beat it to death and then eat its brains, which is really gross, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't think that would be acceptable at your table, though.
No,
It would definitely wake the neighbors. Nerdarchy does not condone violence against animals.
Even if you're going to eat them.
Do it humanely.
With a cattle bolt going to the forehead.
If you have to have screams, just imagine them like a normal person.
Doug Viavek wants to know.
Hey, Doug.
He's got a
it's my
problem.
friend Doug.
I've got a player who reincarnated due to a wild magic surge, and now he's obsessed with doing it again and again and again. Any tips on how to accommodate this strange obsession?
Let them go for it. Sounds like fun.
Yeah,
quick answer, you know?
Yeah, that's.
During Wild Magic Surge.
I didn't know. He must be using like an alternative table or something.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Make him roll it though. Be like, no, you can't have it unless you roll it.
Yeah.
So when he gets to the level when he can actually choose, and he at least has a double the chances.
Exactly. So 14th level, here you come.
Yeah, or maybe he can find a magic item that will give him one.
I don't like
One more
the
roll.
I don't like the 5th edition reincarnate table though. It's very boring.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I can be an elf or a dwarf or a human.
Not a centaur.
Yeah. It's 3rd edition and before way cooler choices for reincarnate. Like that was part of the fun.
You
Like,
could come back as a troll.
you could come back as a troll or you should come back as a newt. But god damn it, there's things that were going to happen that was going to be interesting. It's like you might as well just make up a new character at that point if you're just going to pick one of the races you can already be.
Right.
Not fun at all.
A spellcasting newt would be pretty fun. Just wiggling the little fingers.
Do we have a time check on this?
That's past time.
We're at 3:32.
Okay, so we've been at this for over an hour now, closing in on an hour and a half, guys. We're going to have to shut it down. We could talk forever, but then we will not be getting videos done.
The other
this
videos.
week.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this, and you know the drill as usual. Stay
Stay
nerdy. Now we'll see if Kyle can successfully take us out of it.